quick shout out, guys, to our sponsors, Anglesey Family Chiropractic. They're in Coeur d'Alene. They're in Spokane Valley. Dr. Craig Anglesey, I've known this dude for 30 plus years. He's an amazing family man. Awesome chiropractor, will get you feeling great. Go check him out. Hey, I also want to give a shout out to the Threads podcast, Life Unfiltered. Look, listening to this show is like sitting around a campfire with your best friends. The talk is real, the humor is natural, and personal growth is sparked by authenticity. Go check them out. Threads podcast, Life Unfiltered. Tabitha, we'll kick it off. You're the executive director of the North Idaho Centennial Trail Foundation. You also do a lot of side hustles like public relations events, brand promotions, nonprofits. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I want to go back to the beginning a little bit. Where did you grow up and what was childhood like for you?
So I grew up in North Idaho in Harrison and St. Mary's area. So on the very south end of Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Cool.
Small town girl from Little Town. And I went to school at Kootenai High School, Harrison Elementary. So small school, graduated with 30 kids, which was a big class for that school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very grateful for where I grew up and the time I grew up in. But yeah, that's a little bit, I guess, about me.
Yeah, and you've worked in nonprofit for a long time with the Boys and Girls Club from Idaho, Washington to Montana. And sometimes nonprofit's pretty tough to work in. Well, did you always want to work in nonprofit, and how did you get started in that?
No, I actually thought I was going to be a teacher, and then I got my practicum work, and I was like, teaching is not for me. But then I worked part-time in a Boys and Girls Club, and I was like hooked. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, I want to do this. So I worked through like programs. I worked with kids, I worked with staff, developing programs. And then I had a switch. I was like, I want to make the money. Like, I want to like go get those sponsorships. I want to, make sure that, these kids have a safe place to be and that there's food on their. And so then I went to Children's Village and now the Centennial Trail, which is so different, raising money for pavement over children.
Right.
It's very creative. I have to be very, very creative.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an amazing trail there, but tell me about the North Idaho Centennial Trail. It's like massive, way bigger than I thought. And then, I mean, what do you do for them as the executive director?
So it's 23 miles from Higgins Point all the way to state line.
Wow.
And what we do, it's a foundation, and which is really cool. Not many people know that we are a nonprofit and that that the trail is taken care of by a foundation and not the city, not the government. But we are very lucky to have a good partnership with the city and the government and the county. So we have a joint powers board where we actually meet all together and we talk about what needs to be done. So if there's vandalism, we had a guy from the city, he went and power washed the vandalism off the trail. So we have a great partnership. And what I do essentially is raise the money, but then I also put together the events. So like the Coeur d'Alene Marathon, Ales for the Trail. This is our 30th year anniversary. So officially in October, 30 years of the North Idaho Centennial Trail. And I just create relationships and build that community, but educate. Like my biggest piece is educating people like you. If you didn't know me, you might not know that the Centennial Trail is taken care of by a foundation and nonprofit and not by the government and our taxpayers.
Right. Wow. And how has this COVID affected events that you guys had scheduled and things like that?
Oh, so events is how we run, is how we make our money. And so COVID has put a wrench in things, and it has been very difficult. We moved our Coeur d'Alene Marathon. It's usually Memorial Day weekend, so it should be coming up, but we moved it to the end of August.
Okay.
And it's all like, the thing is, and I talked to so many of my other nonprofit leaders in the community, we just play it day by day. So we don't know. We may have to push it back, or we may have to do a virtual run, or we may have to scratch an event and have a loss this year. You just don't know what's going to happen, because it's all like, if stage 1 goes well, then stage 2 comes. If stage 2 goes well or doesn't, then we're back to stage 1. So it's just playing it. Day by day.
Wow. Well, you have the Coeur d'Alene Marathon technically scheduled there in August, but what other events are coming up later this year, or at least scheduled?
Yeah, so we have Ales for the Trail. So that's August 8th, and that is at Brewfest, which is also interesting because it's really hard for our breweries right now. They're not open. And so to ask them to bring free beer and give out to the community, and then we make money off of it, it's difficult. So we are getting creative in a way that we can help our small businesses and our community. So it might be more about our community coming together than it is just about raising money.
Yeah.
And then we have the marathon, and then we have a Corte Fondo, which is in September. And that's that big bike race, and they usually kicks off Oktoberfest in downtown Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
And then we have our 30th year anniversary party, which we are going to do at the Innovation Den October 1st. Hopefully everything's great by then, so we can have everybody in a building together, and we're just going to celebrate the trail. We're also honoring 23 different people to honor each mile per person, so
Yeah.
23 stories. We want to honor people that have helped bring the trail to what it is, or someone that has, we have an individual we're going to honor that had a stroke, and then the trail kind of helped get him back on his feet and go through like rehab.
Wow. Cool.
So we're going to get to tell really cool stories and launch our brand new website's up today.
Okay.
NICTF.org. So it's like how you can donate to us. You can see what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of us. This rest of the year is events that hopefully we can have.
Okay. Wow. And I love the Innovation Den too. That's a great place to hold an event
Yeah.
there.
I mean, I've done a couple events there now, and it's a great space, and you don't need to decorate it. That's what I love. It's just like, it is what it is.
Yep. I love the side hustles that you do. I've seen you speak a couple times. You're a great speaker. You also do public relations and, brand promotions and events and things like that. But tell me about these side hustles, and how can folks get a hold of you to get working with you?
Of course. So I did public relations on the side, and it happened by accident. Chiropractor's like, hey, would you mind like helping me get out in the community? I was like, great. I love the community. I've been here forever. And then it's just something developed. I was working an event, and I asked Cosmic Cowboy to come in. They're like, hey, we would love to have free food there. I was like, great. They were trying to get in the community. They were open for like a month.
Yeah.
Seller's like, can you do this for me too? So I was like, yes. And then events started happening. People said, would you put the event on? We'll give you a budget and we'll pay you. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I started working with authors, and I worked with a couple speakers where I promote them and get them into speaking engagements.
Wow.
And then like this, during quarantine, I challenged myself to one video a day, and it has turned into, I kind of interview people, and I just kind of like had fun with it. And it has grown into now possibly a podcast thing coming up. And so I'm pretty excited about that, which I've had people now reach out to me like, hey, I didn't know you did this. Can we work together? So I've also done some social media stuff for people, or just connecting them with the right people. I love doing that. That's probably my favorite, is like, if I know someone can help someone else and I connect them, and I'm not benefiting from it, but I just know that these two people now are connected.
Very cool. And I was going to ask about that, because you started this podcast, which you have some really great guests on there. What made you decide to kind of go that route or start that route?
Well, I was like, I'm going to do one video a day. This will make sure that I get out of bed and shower.
Sure.
And it puts my face in the community. As we know in social media, I don't want people to forget about me. And so I was like, I just need to have my face out there as much as possible. Well, then Jeff Conroy, you know Jeff Conroy?
That name sounds familiar.
You need to follow him. He's fantastic. He's all about leadership, and him interviewing people on like LinkedIn. And I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
So he interviewed me, and I was like, I'm totally doing this. I told him I was like, copying. He's like, no, that's the greatest flattery you can have. And I was like, perfect. Totally. So then people are reaching out to me like, hey, would you interview this person? Or, hey, would you interview me? And I was like, what just happened?
Right.
And I have met and there's some people I've never met before that I got to like meet through Zoom. And so it is blown up, and it's been amazing. I'm starting to get some people from outside the community, people that work for huge sports brands. And I mean, it's really, really cool. And I love talking to people. So
that's for me. I started the podcast because I really wanted to just hear people's stories, and the first almost 100 episodes I did were in a walk-in closet, bad lighting, had no idea what I was doing, and it slowly transitioned into what it is today. And it's awesome. And just super honored to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful that you asked me. And I've got to meet you a couple times outside of this, but we need to connect more.
Absolutely. I wanted to transition to a couple fun questions, if that's all right for you. I have these things. They're called pod decks. They're awesome for podcasters, by the way.
I saw that you posted one of those, and I was like, oh, I need some of those.
They are so awesome. And so they're just random questions. Hopefully this one doesn't flop. We'll see what it says. Okay. This is, if you had to teach a class on one thing, what would you teach?
Ooh, running. I would teach on the importance of good posture and getting yourself, strong core, those kind of things. So teaching a running class.
Yeah.
That's what I need. I need better posture.
Like we all do. It's like, oh yeah, it's a reminder.
Yeah. What's a favorite type of music or band for you?
Ooh, I love Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Huge Led Zeppelin fan. But
Nice.
I've been getting into the jam bands. My boyfriend's a big jam band person, and so
Okay.
Dead and Company and like all of those as well.
Yeah.
But I'm also a huge Tom Petty fan.
Okay. Yeah. Love Tom Petty. Got to see him at the Gorge way back in like 99. Yeah. It was a great. Yeah,
and I got to see Fleetwood Mac in November.
Sweet.
And that was probably one of the most amazing concert I've ever been to. I cried. I bawled.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love when concerts do that too, though. I've been to many concerts and definitely felt that emotion for sure.
Well, she sang a Tom Petty song. And so I was like,
okay.
I'm done.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What's a bucket list item for you?
Ooh, probably, I did a couple of lately. So I think probably New Zealand, traveling to New Zealand and doing some intense backpacking in New Zealand.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for you. What motivates and inspires you?
Ooh, I think it's my community and the people around me.
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert introvert, so I need to like that downtime, but people fuel me. And when I get off the call with you, I'll probably want to like really dive in and start researching podcast stuff because people around me inspire me and get me amped. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Tabitha, seriously, such an honor to have you on my show. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for watching this video today. I really appreciate it. If you could go and share this everywhere you can, leave us a review, leave us a rating. We would really appreciate it. That helps us get the word spread out about our podcast and about our show, and we can bring you amazing stories of the people that we bring on for the Bearded Biz and the Top Rated MMA show. Thank you again. Have an awesome day.